Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to a repeat Friday night. For those that have been already listening, this is a second try here. 10:46 p.m. California time, the last day of February. It is 10:46 p.m. here, California time. Latest activity here on the earthquake 3D globe. Got some movement stirring up there across the West Coast. Also out in the oil fields of Texas. Who would have thought, right? 4.6 earthquake striking the area out there outside of Big Spring, Texas. 4.8, excuse me. Out in the Permian Basin region, this area is one of the most populated areas of oil rigs. A lot of oil pumping operations out here taking place. And man, you can literally see them there on the satellite view. You can see them when you're flying over this area. A lot of wastewater disposal ponds out there as well. This is just what happens here in this area of Texas. It's been quite common out here. The oil boom in relationship to earthquake activity is one and the same. This is not just a coincidence out here. These are not fault systems that are showing, all of a sudden showing earthquake activity. This is strictly 100% in relation to the oil fields out here across this area of the Permian Basin and western Texas. Thousands upon thousands of earthquakes. Well, yeah, earthquakes, but also oil fields out here. So that earthquake activity can get quite large, occasionally up in the upper 4 range, but also in the upper 5 range. Luckily, this time we only seen an upper 4, but it was felt broadly out there across western Texas. Pretty crazy how oil fields out here can create earthquakes, but the North American continent here is almost always underneath strain, and when you poke holes in the crust and do all sorts of stuff out there with the oil withdrawal, well, you get these earthquakes. That's a fact. It's not a maybe. It's a definite relationship between the two. So expect that. Some of these earthquakes obviously can get big as well, up in the upper 5 range. Some movement up across the Washington area. Nothing major going on. Northern California, a couple 2s stirring up. On that note, let's double check the tremor map here this evening for the Cascadia subduction zone. I feel like I'm repeating myself out here. I just did, I don't know, I think it was close to a 10-minute update. Come to find out, well, the record button never hit out there. But hey, could you imagine that happening every night? Probably not. It would be frustrating, but it happens on occasion. Hey, I'm only human, and electronics are electronics. We got 31 epicenters of tremor across the southern end, resulting in elevated earthquake activity here across Northern California, as expected. Nothing going on across the rest of the area, so should be pretty quiet unless we see some further tremor occurring downstream into the Cascadia. Southern California here, a couple smaller earthquakes across the area. Nothing big going on. Let's see what we got here. A couple of smaller quakes off the San Andreas Fault, but really nothing big going on. It actually looks pretty quiet out there across Southern California for now. Nothing going on across Yellowstone National Park. The New Madrid seismic zone, pretty quiet, aside from a couple earthquakes way out here around the Great Smoky Mountains National Park area. A couple 2s stirring up there earlier today. Looking at the last 24 hours of earthquake activity, the largest magnitude so far, still got an hour and 10 minutes, a 5.6 out here across the Indonesia Islands area. Not a big earthquake whatsoever. Taking a look here at the earthquake 3D globe here. I mentioned in my previous little update that we had a lot of earthquake activity here across the southern end of the globe. And I mentioned here that will probably start up north. And sure enough, today, a little bit of uptick here across the northern end of the globe. This should spread out throughout tonight and the next couple days. Been a little interesting cycle here. 5.2 off the coast of Russia, a little odd earthquake. 4.7 way up north here of Canada, off the coast of Greenland. Noticing a little bit of a trend of activity stretching out across the lower latitudes as well. So just a little cycle of earthquakes recently. Nothing big going on there for now, folks. But as always, they're always in motion out here. There's always earthquake activity. This is actually very minimal compared to the actual number out here. This is just the USGS and the EMSC reporting the data. That does include the Philippines data, New Zealand GeoNet servers, everything else out here across Africa. If we were to include every agency and all their data that they're reporting here for the last 24 hours, the globe would look like way more than this. Way more. So we would see areas across the Antarctica area, all across Africa, that would be just cluttered with earthquakes. And it just, something like this, what's going on? Well, that's called plate dynamics, plate tectonics there. The plates are always in motion. So there's always earthquake activity occurring out there. For example, United States here. This activity here in the last 24 hours of all magnitudes. And that's just the ones they're reporting. 163 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. How about the last 30 days? 5,545 earthquakes. Yes, earthquakes are always happening. We did a little comparison from this year to last year, and I think we're up about 100 earthquakes, but not anything drastic. So it's always in motion, folks. The faults, the plates, they're always underneath strain. So the oil fields out there, no exception to the strain-induced earthquakes. All right, let's see what else we got here. Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. Santorini area, not a whole lot going on. Still seeing some earthquake activity around the 2 range, but as far as any major uptick goes, it's not happening yet. 4.4 there across the Philippines area in the green flag. That's one of the latest quakes there. 10 kilometers deep, pretty shallow earthquake. Let's go ahead and check out space weather activity. Goodness, man, this turned into a lengthy update, but that was my fault. Pretty quiet as expected. I called this here. I'm glad they're dropping their X-flare threat. That probably should be at about 1%. But hey, this is something I'm doing on my own, my solar flare forecast. I've issued a 1% or less chance for an X-flare. There's really no probability of even a 5%, but this is what Solar Ham is showing. M-flare at 30% chance. That's below what I'm forecasting there. I have mine at 40%, but that's fairly reasonable. X-flare, not really. But that right there, no argument. Flares are non-existent right now on the Earth-facing side. This looks like a solar minimum happening out here. But on the far side, that's not so much. We're just out here on, would you call it the lucky side, I guess? I don't know. Some people want solar flares. Some people don't. It's not really doom and gloom. It's just solar flares. They hit the planet. They spark up auroras. And voila. It's not anything drastic. But it would be nice to get some Earth-directed solar flares. A lot of people benefit from the energy, so to speak. But we're not expecting anything major here in the forecast. Things are pretty quiet. As far as the far side watch goes, well, I hate to burst your bubble. There's not a whole lot coming out across the eastern limb as well. We'll watch this massive area out there, almost center disk on the far side of the sun. This thing produced a couple massive explosions here in the last few days. But obviously, on the far side, the only thing that hit us was the proton events. So that right there was a signal that this had been some big event out there on the far side. We'll watch this sunspot area here in the coming weeks. Here in a couple weeks, well, probably 7-8 days. I think that should do it. Should be out here on the eastern limb of the sun, maybe, depending on if this holds up or not. But right now, there's nothing. There's not a whole lot of hope here in terms of any solar flare activity. No major roars there in the forecast either. Storm Prediction Center. We do have some severe weather coming up here. Not that one, but it looks like as we head to day 5. Here's day 4, day 5. All right, these guys have switched up things a little bit. But there's a 30% chance for some severe weather that far out across Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee. That could be a big day. That is on Tuesday of this coming week. Excuse me, I got hiccups all of a sudden. Could be some tornado potential. This is coming into the springtime pattern where tornadoes, obviously no stranger. No stranger out here. No strangers to the area of the South. Got to watch that pretty closely. Take this with some dire warning out there. Not anything to joke about. There's going to be a massive low pressure system stirring up that severe weather. Check this out. Right about here as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. This is Tuesday evening. Massive low pressure. Main area of severe weather focus down south across Texas in this area. So we got to watch that pretty closely there, folks. That eventually head off to the east. California getting in on some more rainfall. Wow, that's a pretty decent system there as we head towards March 13th time period. Have to watch that, see how that plays out. But it looks like March is going to be a very interesting month with regards to severe weather. So, California, obviously, when things take place here across the West Coast, that can hop, skip, and jump, create some severe weather out here across the Texas area, Southern Plains, and the South. Looks to be a repeat pattern out here, so just be on guard, folks. Not fear-mongering. This is just common sense. This happens every single year. So just be on guard. Let's see what else we got here, folks. Seismograph's pretty quiet. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to call it a night. I am ready to call it a night here, folks. After goofing up the first update, like I said, I forgot to hit. Well, it wasn't my fault. It was the keyboard's fault. I'm going to blame it on the keyboard. But I got a wireless keyboard here away from the computer desk. Sometimes it goes on standby, so if I don't hit a button first and then hit the key to record, it doesn't work. So that's my explanation as to what happened. But hey, hope everyone has a wonderful Friday night. Please stay safe out there. Make sure you guys create a little bit of sunshine for yourselves. If you don't have any, man, it hit 80 degrees here where I'm at today in Northern California. It's beautiful. 73 tomorrow. A little bit of rain coming in for Saturday night, Sunday. So we'll take it. A little bit of cool down. I'm not quite ready for the warm temperatures yet. All right. You guys don't realize I live here in Northern California, and we have literally May, June, July, August, September of 100-degree temperatures. That is just, woo, I'm done with that. I don't want 5 months of 100 degrees. That's enough. So I'm soaking in the cold weather. So the weather folks out there know what I'm talking about. So I'm just here. I'm enjoying the rain when it comes and the cooler temperatures when we have it out here because I know what's coming. Have a good one. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys back out here for the Saturday morning update.